What is going on, big strong gamers? It is Spencer, and today we're going to be going over the top 5 submachine guns in Cold War Zombies currently. Let's get into it. Now, to start us off on our number 5, we have the Milano, and this is a pretty solid one. I would say it's probably like the most basic out of all of the submachine guns. It's the one that has like the most average stats, kind of like the XM4 in the assault category. I mean, it has a good rate of fire, a good amount of damage, a good amount of range, recoil, all of it. It's just all around, just across the board, something good. If you want something that'll get you far, but maybe it's not excelling in one area in particular, this is probably the gun for you. I would say that the damage on this weapon is actually something that's a little bit better than some of the other ones in this, and you can do a lot of damage at range. Especially, I'm trying to show you right now, but I don't have exactly like the best class setup for it, but you know, I'll leave that in the corner like probably right now or something. But going over it, I mean, this thing will get you pretty far, I would say, into the high rounds. I'd say probably maybe like 45 or 50, depending if you use ring of fire, dead shot, daiquiri tier level, and all that sort of nonsense. It's a really reliable gun. I wouldn't say it's like, maybe, you know, you should put it as your first weapon. Unless you really like it, then, you know, go ahead, knock yourself out. But it's kind of like maybe like have it as backup weapon or a mule kick weapon, and it'll do you pretty good, and it is pretty reliable, and it can get a lot of damage done in terms of like just headshot damage, because it has a pretty high headshot multiplier, and it just does really good, especially with dead shot daiquiri. Overall, I would really recommend it. It's not absolutely the best, and just because it's number 5, I wouldn't say just skip over it, but it is a pretty solid weapon, and honestly, I slept on it, but it's a really good weapon. Now, number 4 on this list is going to be the MP5, and this is just an all-around good weapon, but the thing that excels about this weapon the most is the mobility and the rate of fire. I mean, it's granted no Mach 10, but it has quite a bit of damage for the rate of fire it does have, and also has a pretty standard clip of about 72 that lasts a pretty good amount of time. And with ring of fire, this weapon absolutely just shreds. It just feels sort of like a mini, just, I don't know, LMG, just because of how fast it shoots alongside with its clip size. It is a just overall good weapon, but I would say, you know, it does excel in all of those categories. I mean, it doesn't have the best headshot damage just because the bullets are a little bit weaker than I would say the Milano, but the rate of fire just kind of adds up for it, and then eventually, you know, it doesn't really matter because you're just doing so much more damage because of the rate of fire. The class setup for this gun, it is pretty solid. I mean, I'll probably leave that in the corner as well, but just this weapon, just using in general, is just something that's good. I mean, it is a really fun gun to play with, and basically everybody has this weapon already leveled up, so if you haven't tried it in zombies, it's kind of like, why haven't you already? It's a really fun gun. I would say it's one of the more weapons that I like to just play around with, and maybe just if I'm playing with friends, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll grab the MP5, just because, you know, it's just a good weapon. And personally, I like it just because, you know, it's the MP5. Who doesn't like it? It's a really good gun, and if you haven't tried it, just try it. Now, number 3 on this list is going to be the PPSH, and this is just something that, if you just like a lot of ammo, this is something you go to, and if you like a high rate of fire and damage, this is basically the perfect gun for you. I mean, I have literally 222 rounds in the clip. That beats out literally, I think, all assault rifles, all SMGs, all sniper rifles, all of that, and I think besides 3 or 2 LMGs. I mean, this thing is literally just a walking ammo box. It does a ton of damage, has a great headshot multiplier of about 4.4, which you don't get that with much of the other SMGs. And overall, the weapon is really good, but it does excel in all of those categories. The range on this weapon, it's pretty all right. I mean, it does shoot really fast, so you're not going to get as good of a range, but with a certain class setup, like right in the right hand corner, you will be using this weapon quite a bit. I mean, this is something that I just personally love. It's just so much fun. It's the PPSH. It does an insane amount of damage, and especially when you have insta kill, I mean, you could just melt through enemies like butter and just get them out of the way. Another great thing about this weapon too is you don't really have to reload. I mean, I noticed, you know, 220 in the clip. I mean, you don't really have to reload for anything. I mean, it's just one of those weapons that you just don't even have to worry about it, and even then the reload is pretty fast on it. It is a good weapon, and I would highly recommend this weapon. Even if it's number 3, it is amazing. Now, for number 2, we have the Tech 9, and this is just one of those weapons that just got randomly added. No one really expected it, but it's really, really good in zombies. It is in multiplayer, and it used to be a little bit more powerful, but this weapon, if you are really accurate headshot wise, I mean, you're going to be absolutely melting enemies. I mean, I'm just one tapping. It's round 14. I only have tier 1 pack-a-punch. I should have tier 2 at this point, but it just destroys them. I mean, literally, you have a really decent clip. I mean, this gun doesn't have too much of a big clip size, but the damage output on this gun is absolutely insane, and one that is just really just like, why wouldn't you use it? And the full auto, and then also the burst fire you can get with it to get extra damage. I mean, this is a weapon that's just different and unique, but just overall really, really good. The best submachine gun in Cold War Zombies has got to be the MAC 10. I mean, this is just the Mac Daddy of all guns. I mean, it's just so good. I mean, just the rate of fire alone. I mean, you get about 133 in the clip with the maximum magazine. I'll leave it up there. But also, I mean, just look at the rate of fire. I mean, you get about 1200 rounds per minute and you have 133 in the clip. I mean, it doesn't seem like much in the clip wise, but it does quite a bit, and it helps you quite a bit. I mean, if you pair this thing with Ring of Fire also, the damage output on this gun is absolutely insane. I wouldn't say it's the best in terms of just range, but if you have this thing, just absolutely just melts enemies up close. I mean, the damage on this weapon is absolutely through the roof, and I'm surprised it has not been nerfed yet in zombies. Currently, it is personally my favorite and one of the better submachine guns, and even if you don't believe that it's number one, I think we could all agree it's at least in the top 3 just because of how powerful it is, and everything about it is just really good. I mean, just for a weapon like this with 1200 rounds per minute, you think the recoil would be a little bit more, but no. And I think I'm gonna leave it off there. If you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, all local nonsense. If you made it this far, you deserve a cookie, and I love you. Check out the links in the description, join the Discord, all that nonsense. But not gamers, I will see you in the next one. Hope you have a wonderful day. See ya. Subscribe.